Okay, today we'll be discussing about. Okay, today we will be discussing about pandas, a data analysis library in Python. It is one of the data analysis library we'll be using apart from NumPy, right, but we'll mostly be using pandas. So to add the library to your notebook, you simply use the import statement, then the name of the library. Since pandas is already installed, if pandas is not installed, you use the pip install then pandas. But as long as you've installed Anaconda, pandas will be already installed in your notebook, right? So to import it, you simply use the keyword pandas, use the as pd. This is a acceptable short form or alias for the pandas library. So you don't have to type pandas anytime you want to refer to pandas, right? So the next thing you have to do is to import your data. Mostly we work with CSV, but you can also import a JSON file, an Excel file, an SQL file, a text file as well, right? A normal text file. But to import your file, all you need to do is to use the pd.read underscore CSV, then bracket the location you want to install from. So what I'm going to do is simply go to where I've placed my CV location, right? Then I will go to this one, then I'll just copy the link or the path. This is called the path. Now paste it right inside of a quotation, and I have to change this to a backslash. Okay, I think Control V. Add your backslash. Then I'm using 2019. It's a CSV file, so I have to include the file name. Then I'll change my backslash. This is a forward slash. Change to a backslash on every location that it occurs. Right. Then I'll press my Shift Enter key. It shows me that it has been installed, it has been imported. So now I have to actually assign it to a variable so I can refer to that anytime I want to, right? So let me assign it to a variable. So most times you use df, which stands for data frame, but you can use whatever name that you feel is comfortable. So it's the data set is a bit long, and I actually set the length for it, so you can go through it and you see some of the data you'll be working with. So to show what you've imported, you simply just type the variable name that you assign to the imported file, and to simply bring out the variable. Then say you just need to know say the top 10 data. Use the add method, then pass in 10, press enter, then it gives you just the top 10 results, right? Okay, I think I'm making a mistake. Let me reset my kernel. So start my kernel and go to kernel, restart and clear output. Yeah, this is what I need. So it starts from scratch. Okay, this is perfect. Just exactly what I needed. Okay, so import, then let me run this cell first, right? And I can see my data right over here, right? I can see the top 10 of my data. Shift enter. once I've gotten that, so the next thing I want to see is probably the bottom part of my data, right? And before we move there, there's something I want to show you that I did not show you earlier. If you want to see some of the settings, right? Because this is a method and it has some parameters that you can add to it, right? To see those parameters, you can press Shift then Tab. And to bring out this menu for you, then you can just click on this right over here. And you can see the first parameter is your file path, right? Which we inserted here. You can also specify it file path equals to like this. Right, like this. Says equals to this right over here. Then there are other things, but ideally this is what we use, the separate keyword, the header. So if your part, maybe you don't want to use the first, or maybe there is no header, right? You can set your header to none, because some data set might not have a header. You have to rename it yourself. You can set your header to header is equals to none, right? Then there is a name keyword. You go down, there's a lot. You can name your headers. Yeah, names. Then once you set your headers, you can use the name parameter and just create a list of all your headers. You can say the first one is, then you list out the header if you would want to. Alright, I'll say fish. I'm just going to give it some random names. Right, let me see if it will even work for my data set. So let me close this. So if I try to restart my data, rerun my data, right, you see it essentially removed the first row, remove the header, then just added only just this one, right? It treats each of these as its own row. You see that my row here is a bit different. If you would, from this is the original one, treat this as the header for the column, but now it's not treating it as a header, it's treating it as part of it, right? So if that is the case, some data don't have header, you can just use this. But I'll be using the normal, going back to the normal method, then simply rerun this. Okay, now we are back. So moving forward, so the next thing we want to get the last piece of data, right? So we want to get the last 10 data, we can just run this. It gives us our last 10, right? So you want to display all rows of a data set at once, right? Maybe for some reason you need to like see all your data at once, right? You don't want to have these annoying separators, right? 0 to 4, then there's a separator here. Means there's data here between this and this. You want to see everything once, you can simply go to just the pandas, and you are going to set your rows, your maximum row in your set options, and set it to display dot max dot rows. Then you set it to the value you want. Say you want it at 200. You can also do the same thing for your, let me run this first, then run this again. Okay, I won't see the effect until I come here to run this. As you can see, it's showing me all my data, right? So the next thing I need to do is, you can also change it back to whatever you want to. I'm just going to leave it at 10. I think the default is 10 or 20. I think it's 10 actually, but I can do it for my rows as well, for my column as well, right? So sometimes your column might be way more than this, and if it's much, I think the default is about 20. You can easily set it to as long as you want or as small as you want, but I'm just going to show you for the sake of this. I'm just going to reduce the numbers to say 4. Once I rerun this, you see it showed my first two, then gave this dots, meaning there are some columns there. Then it added this extra, making it 4 columns, right? So I can reset it back to 20 as well. Then once I run this, you see it's being set it back to the default. So to get info about your data sets, like the data types of each of the columns, the numbers of null values, and there are some other simple things, use the data frame.info, the name of your data frame.info. Once you run that, you see the column name, the index. This is the index. This first row is the index. This is your column name. The numbers of non-data counts, data types. You have your int, your objects. In pandas, you don't have strings. You have objects. You have even your list is an object, so you have just objects and integers and date time. That there's a lot of it. So you go to the official documentation, you see more about it there, and you can also shift tab to see if there's any option, or there is always a description on what it does. Then you can see it takes in a parameter called verbose and off, right? So this verbose means okay, make the explanation, make the results more long, right? That's what it does. So to run a quick statistical analysis on your data, just to see maybe your maximum for each of the column, minimum, and all of that, you simply use the describe method. It does a descriptive analysis, quick descriptive analysis of your data, right? Then it gives you the results. So it counts all your rows, the mean value for each of the item, then gives you the max. Then this is your 25th quotile, your 50th quotile, or your mid quotile, your third quotile, then the maximum value, right? Now to get the numbers of rows, maybe you want to use for a reason, I don't know. You can just use the shape. It gives you the number of rows and the number of columns. Right? This is your number of rows and this is your number of columns. To retrieve just a row, to retrieve a particular column from your table, you can just specify the name inside a square bracket, and you have to use, if it is capital letter, you have to use capital letter. If it's small letter, you have to use small letter as well, right? Then it returns the index and the values. But if you want to retrieve multiple with their headers intact, you can simply type data frame, open up a square bracket, then inside open a list again that will house the rows you want to include, which is your, I'll be including score, overall rank, let me include generosity, and I have to specify if it's capital letter, it has to be capital letter, right? Generosity. Then run this. Okay, I think I need to close. I think I made a mistake here. Key error. Okay, this is supposed to be here. Okay. So it gives me the row with the column with the column header as well, right? So if I want to rename, I think I had it here, but if I want to, okay, we'll talk about that later. If you want to rename a particular header, if you want to rename a header, or you want to delete some columns as well, we'll talk about that in the end, maybe in another class. So the last thing we have to do is to export our table. Maybe you've renamed some part of it, right? And you need to extract the final result. You could simply use the pd dot, right? Use the name of the data frame dot to, and you can always you need to export. If it's a CSV file, it has to be exported to a CSV file. right? So you simply go to the location you need it, go to here, and let me export it right here. I'm going to be exporting it right here, so I'll just copy this. Go to here, paste, change this to backslash, 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 slash. Then give it its name, call it the file name, exported, then give it the CSV extension, then run it, and it has exported your file. So go back here, see if it actually exported, which is right here. It exported our file. So the next class we'll talk about how to actually do some adjustment to our file, right?